To unpack your cello, you'll want to make sure that it's sitting upright. For this, you'll take out any accessories and or music that you have. For this, I'll be taking out my rosin, and I'll be setting it on the stand so I can grease my bow. Super. Next, I'll take out any of the bows that I have. In this case, I have this bow right here. Now, if you see, the bow has a smile in it, and the hairs are loose. If you turn the screw clockwise, the hairs will straighten out and become firmer, and the smile will slowly decrease, and it won't be as deep. You want at least a pencil's worth or a pinky's worth between the hairs and the stick. Remember not to touch the stick, as if you put oils on the hairs, rosin will not be able to stick there. After you have it about a pencil's worth away, you should be able to grease your bow. With your rosin, you're going to make these down strokes, and then you're going to make upstrokes. Make sure to do this at least 3 or 4 times to make sure that your bow is completely coated in rosin. Make sure not to overdo it, as there is a possibility to overdo it. Once you're done, cap your rosin, put your bow on your stand, and set your rosin to the side. Next, you'll take your cello out as it is straight up and not laying down like a violin case. You'll unzip. Once your cello is outside of its case, make sure your case is packed up and at least put to the side so your teacher may be able to walk through the aisles. The correct playing position will come from the correct size cello and from correct posture for the cello, as well as your peg height and everything dealing with that. For this, you'll want to realize that your back button will be near your left pectoral. And as you can see, mine is very far. So I will extend the peg It goes up, but it does not go up far enough. So I might extend it just a little bit more. Perfect. As you can tell, the cello is not straight up and down. It is to the side, to the left. And you also can see that the peg box is not behind my head, and it's not in front of my head, but beside my ear, as this is the perfect place that I can reach over and still play each string while also not getting hit in the head by the peg. As for your feet, instead of cello, they will not be one in front of the other. They will be simply parallel, and your back will be away from the chair. As we go over hand position, we'll first go over pizzicato. And if you remember for pizzicato, you'll hook your thumb on the corner of the fingerboard and just wrap your finger around and pluck at each string. The strings are tuned in fifths. This first string being C, this next string being G, this next string being A, and this next string being E. Here are the open strings on arco, which means with a bow. Now with your left hand, you'll want to take all of your tension out of your fingers. You want to be loose, and instead of thinking of pushing and pressing the strings, you'll think about pulling your shoulder back, and that's where the pressure from pulling the strings down comes from. It does not come from clenching or pressing. Your thumb should be able to move freely up and down the neck without any hesitation or any resistance or any clenching or any tension. You should be able to just move it down, but just pull from your shoulder, and that's how you get the press down on the fingers. Unmove. Cello, where there was a space between the first and the middle and the pinky and the ring finger, cello is all spaces between all fingers. The finger combination, however, is even further from violin and viola, and this one, it is a 1, 3, and then 4. And for basses, it would be a 1 and then a 4 instead of a 3. And then they would use extensions, which we'll go over later in the video. Now, we'll be going over bow hold. Make sure you have a non-permanent marker and something to hold on to like a pencil. For this, we're going to mark the points of contact, which are where the bow is going to make contact with our hand. It'll be a relatively straight line on your right hand. This is where all of the bow will touch on your hand. Now, when you pick up your pencil, try to go down on your hand and just rest the pencil in your fingers on all of the dots. So if you were looking at the dots, I simply just rest the pencil near them. My pinky, unlike violin, is not on top and it's down. And then you rest your finger in between your middle finger and your ring finger, and this is where you'll hold. It'll be relaxed, and you should be able to take the pencil away at any time and still hold the form. You should be able to also just drop the pencil because you're not holding with any tension, any straining at all. It is just loose and relaxed. Now, when we transfer over to the actual bow, we'll want that same relaxed nature, but instead, a little bit up from the frog, there will be this space right here, which you'll put your thumb in, and on the other points of contact, wrap them around. And just like that, those are all the places that the bow is in contact with. And just like violin, there are still down and up strokes, but they are horizontal. So the down is pulling away from the center of body. And as you go in, those are up strokes. Down, up, down, and up. Now we'll be learning about shifting. Shifting deals with moving closer to the bridge and getting higher, and or moving away from the bridge and getting lower. For this, you're gonna make sure that your hand is still in a good position for cello hand position. You'll make sure that you feel like your hand is holding a can of soda with spaces in between each finger. And you're gonna make sure that you're getting weight from pulling your shoulder back, not from squeezing your hand. Shifting deals with when your fingers stay attached to the strings, but the weight used and made from pulling your shoulder back will be released, and you will be able to move up and down. Your thumb, your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder will all move together. String instruments that are larger usually tend to shift more to make passages easier for them. It's also easier as you get closer to get higher, and you can just switch to other strings and keep going, or go lower and lower and lower. Now we'll be learning about extensions. Extensions deal with only moving the necessary fingers, yet keeping the same shape in your hand. This is primarily used in cellos and involves just moving that finger that needs to be moved. For an example, if I'm on the D string and I'm playing a G, but I need to reach back to E flat, I can just move my index finger back to E flat and go back to G. This is an extension where your whole hand doesn't move, just the kneaded fingers to reach the note. Now I will teach you a simple rote song, Mare Had a Little Lamb. For this, you'll need only a few notes. You'll need open string D, first finger E on the D string, second, third, and first finger, which will make F sharp, all with the space in between the fingers. And the last string will be the A string. That'll be D, E, F sharp, A. And those are all the notes you need to know. We will also associate solfege with these notes. D will be Do, E will be Re, F sharp will be G, F sharp will be me, and A will be so. So, now, my turn first. Mi, re, do, re, mi, re, mi, so, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. The first part. Mi, re, do, re, mi, re, mi, so. The first part. Mi, re, do, re, mi, re, mi, so. 1 and 2, and your turn, go, and. My turn, and here we go, second part. Mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. 1 and 2, and your turn, ready, go. Okay, and now the full thing, 5 and 6, and here we go. And mi, re, do, re, mi, re, mi, so, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do. Very good job. Now that we've had our fun, it is time to pack up now. Let's pack up in reverse order. But first, we will need to clean the instrument. This is to ensure that there is no rosin left over from playing. As you can see, there is white on my strings, which is a leftover rosin residue. Make sure to get the strings specifically because that's where you play. Get the fingerboard, as leftover rosin may be there, and also where your fingers press because there may be oils. Make sure to get the front face of your cello, as there might be rosin built up there. Wipe off any grease from your fingers as you tuned. Hold the pegs and even the fine tuner. Okay. Let your peg down and make sure it's secure. Get your bow, making sure not to touch the hairs, and wipe off any residue from the rosin. After you're done doing that, you should be able to loosen it, which is the opposite way of how we put it together. So you'll spin counterclockwise to loosen the bow, to increase the smile, and let the hairs hang loose, which they are not now, so I will need to untighten further. When they dangle and shake, then I know it's loose enough. First, let's put the bow back inside of its case. Any other accessories that I had out, like rosin, and lastly, the cello itself. And with that, the instrument is clean. I put away all my accessories and I'm ready to go. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed.